Hello, everyone. So I've had this information for a few years, but it wasn't quite time to share it with everyone. And I believe that this message is going to stretch your mind into multidimensionality and give you something to stew over and meditate on. Now, we all have parallel selves. We have other dimensional selves that are sitting on alternate timelines. From this vantage point, meaning this point of focus, there will be times where you think about something that happened to you in your past. Maybe you didn't get the acknowledgement you needed at your prom. Maybe someone rejected you when you were young. Maybe someone deceived you or stole from you. And you never really dealt with that trauma, and it was frozen in time. Now, that particular self continued its trajectory, and it had its life. One thing to keep in mind is that information is alive. Everything is pulsating, everything is living, everything is breathing. So when we have this idea or this concept that things are set in stone, as it were, we are still caught in a linear fashion of operating within this construct of reality. So all information is to be changed. Everything is like Play-Doh that can be molded and remolded. Think of all the times that you thought about something that happened to you, or you thought about someone who betrayed you, and you found forgiveness in your heart. And you found forgiveness in your own self for having allowed that person in, because maybe there was something that you needed to learn from that. And by virtue of thinking about that person and forgiving them, you completely changed the course of your life. In other words, you were holding on to an energy that was keeping you anchored in a lower vibrational reality because you were still carrying that frequency of resentment around, or you were still having that chip on your shoulder, or you were still holding on to a grudge that kept you from vibrating at a higher rate. Are you following? Okay. So we do the shadow work, but really you can think of shadow work as interfacing with other aspects of yourself, meaning those parallel selves, in order to exchange information to bring about unification. In order to exchange information to bring about unification. So think of your higher self or your ethereal self as being in the middle, and it has all these other selves connected to it. And every self is on a mission. Every self is on a different timeline. And when you are burdened with something in your life, well, maybe there's an aspect of yourself that's asking you to resolve it from the vantage point that you find yourself in. Or maybe it's showing up because you're supposed to say, I don't really want to deal with this right now. I'm going to send it to you guys and you guys deal with it. It's like a network of all of your dimensional selves. So the download I received today, which was so profound, was that whenever we think about something in our past, we are traveling back into the past. You're going into the memory engrams, so you're taking a voyage to the past. Now, from your viewpoint, you're just meditating and you're doing shadow work, and you might be able to flip that script in 5 minutes, meaning that if something happened to you when you were young, or if someone hurt you 5 years ago, you can meditate on it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and rewrite that script, meaning you're placing yourself in that memory and you're rewriting the script by finding forgiveness, by extending compassion, by also extending gratitude for that experience. And by virtue of doing this, you are melting. It's like an ice cube that was frozen in time. You are melting away that particular energetic charge to create a new trajectory for yourself. So the past and the present and the future are all intertwined together in this now moment. We are quantum beings. And at the quantum within this now moment, you have access to all these other dimensional selves. So when you hear about like past life readings or past life regressions, this really just means that, yes, from a linear viewpoint, it is a past and there is a future, meaning that there are things that you're healing from your past now that you remember. And then there are future selves, meaning the self that you will become that is working with you now, which is why we're constantly encouraging you to let go so that you can suspend those beliefs that are keeping you from moving into that future self. But from a quantum standpoint, they're all happening concurrently. They're your simultaneous selves. Now, the download I received today was that whenever you travel back into the past, from the point of focus that you're inhabiting right now, you're not traveling, you're here in your room. But when you close your eyes and you meditate on what transpired in the past, you are dispatching an aspect of yourself to go back into the past. Now, when you come out of meditation, that only took you 15 minutes and you were able to successfully transmute that energy and to clear whatever it is that was frozen in time, whatever it is that was needing your attention, meaning an unattended, traumatized aspect of who you are. But what if I told you that the aspect of you that rewrote the script existed an entire lifetime? So for you, it was 15, 20 minutes of meditation. For it was an entire life. 100 years, 90 years. How powerful is that? So now, because we have to look at these things from all angles, now imagine you're here right now watching this video. You're having a life. This is a real experience. You've been here 20-something years, 30 years, 40 years. You have till 90, 95, 100 years old. What if I told you that you are the aspect that another self of yours has dispatched back into the past to rewrite this script, to clear your Akash, to bring resolution to the circumstances that you're attracting into your life? And you're choosing, this aspect is choosing to be in this point of attraction. So to you, it seems like this is everything. This is everything. You know, the 9, I asked them, could you give people a good metaphor for what it means to have a point of focus? And they gave me the example of a song. Of course they did. When you go in studio to lay down a song, when you're recording the verse, that verse is like everything to you. That's all you're focused on. Before you go into the studio, you can conceptualize the entire song once complete, but then you have to anchor that song. So we are anchoring these higher dimensional energies into this now moment. When you're recording that verse, it seems like the entire world. It's so grand because it is. It's the micro to the macro. But when you complete the recording of that verse, you move on to the chorus. And then you have to stack that chorus with harmonies. And they were showing me that the harmonies are like other dimensions. You lay one, cool. While you're laying it, that's your only point of focus. That's all that matters. Once you milk it, you move on to the next harmony. That's the observer to the last harmony. And you stack, stack, stack. By the time you complete the song, there's so much going on. There's every moment, this is just hitting me now, by the way. There's every moment, meaning the moment where you recorded the verse, the moment where you recorded everything, your ad-libs, your harmonies, every moment is in the song, including the mixing, the editing, the mastering. So that was just a sidebar. The rest of the information I've had for a while. But I got new downloads that I'll be sharing with you as well. So if I am bringing resolution to an older aspect of who I am, that aspect is still existing. It is having an experience. It might be on a horse somewhere. It might be a knight. It might be in India. It might be on a different planet. And so, could it be that that aspect placed a call, just like Mother Earth did for all of us starseeds? Could it be that that aspect placed a phone call and said, I need your help? Just like we did when we first awakened, or before we awakened. I need to understand reality at large. I do not want to suffer anymore. And then on the other end of that phone call was the me that is here with you guys now that said, cool, I'm going to dispatch myself into that version of the now and help this other self figure out the puzzle. I'm going to help this other self figure out the puzzle. And again, to them, to that aspect, they're still going to continue to be on that horse. They're having a very real experience that is not to be negated or disregarded. But from my vantage point, that only took 10 minutes. So the question lies, are you in a memory right now? Are you in a future self's memory who has dispatched itself into this now to help you crack the code of your universe? Because every other aspect is experiencing their version of the universe. They have different friends. They have different pets. One aspect of yourself might have a bulldog. Another aspect of yourself may have a Labrador. One aspect of yourself might be feminine or a female, and another aspect of yourself might be a male. One aspect of yourself might be an alien, and another aspect of yourself might be a dolphin. But we are all intricately connected via this network, all of us. But right now, for this video, let's stick to you have your own network of your parallel selves. Now, this is where it gets really mind-blowing. And this is the download I received today. I called my friend Mikey. I'm like, oh my God, I just got another download. This is where it gets really, really mind-blowing. Usually a spiritual awakening ensues from us not wanting to lead the life that we're leading anymore because it's too painful. So we place that call, right? What if I told you that the awakening, meaning when you tip over into you're conscious now, the awakening, you tip over into lucidity within your dream, is you becoming aware of the fact. Now really follow me carefully here. You becoming aware of the fact that there's another presence with you now. Because your desire, you're longing for a connection to source, you're longing for a deeper connection to all that you are and all that you were always created to be, has now drawn to it that aspect of the self that's in the future that is now going to aid you in bringing resolution to your life. So the awakening is you becoming aware of the fact that the assistance has arrived. How's that for trippy? So when we awakened, in essence, we dialed our phone and we were like, 911, I need help. My life is not going as planned. I'm really needing to shift my trajectory here. And remember, as you shift your trajectory, you're shifting the trajectory of all the other selves, meaning that energy echoes across the lines of time, which is why the Pleiadians are involved with us, because as we shift, they shift. We're all evolving. No one is above, no one is below. Everyone is having a different experience. And as you grow, I grow. As I grow, they grow. You get the gist? So I was saying that the assistance has arrived. When you placed that call, you were like, I want to shift the trajectory of my life because it is not improving me. It is not advancing me. I am suffering and I want out. I want out of this illusion of separation that is causing me pain. Obviously, you didn't talk like that as you were asking for the awakening, but that's the idea. Now, another aspect of yourself heard you. It said, ding, ding, ding. They're calling upon us or me for assistance. And it doesn't have to be one future self. It doesn't have to be one past self. There can be a combination of selves that come together to now help you on your path. That's why it's so important. It's so imperative that we ask our guides for what we need. I don't work for my guides. We work with each other. We work in concert with each other. You know, when you think of an actor, they go do a video or a movie, they go shoot a movie in New York. They're going to say to the company, I need this amount of money a day to eat. I need this. This is what I want in my contract. This is how much I want to make for the movie. That's how I've always treated my path since I've awakened. I command my reality. I communicate with my guides. Hey guys, I need this, I need this, I need that. I need that to do my job efficiently, to fulfill my mission, to fulfill my assignment efficiently. So don't be afraid to ask your guides for what you need to carry out that mission. And when we want to remain asleep, when we want to remain in that slumber, you'll remain in that slumber because your universe is respecting your wishes and your reality is responding according to your belief system. So when we're unawakened, we usually get shaken to the core and eventually something gets us to pay attention. And what tries to get your attention is your higher self, your guides. And they're like, it is time. It is time. You came here with a vibrational record. You came here with a mission. There's a certain curriculum, and we need you to awaken now. But that's not how you hear it. You just hear, you're just in pain, and you eventually get to you're down in the dumps, and you're like, I need help. You're in dire need of assistance. And that's when that other self can interfere. That's when that other self says, okay, dispatch. And in that moment that you have your Kundalini awakening, or in that moment that you get jolted with some sort of an epiphany, that is you becoming conscious of the fact that there is now assistance at your side. How does that sound? So it's like a wave that rolls over you. So to give you a different perspective, the self that has now come to help you is meditating. It's doing shadow work. It's doing shadow work. It might be in meditation 15 minutes. But as soon as your light switch turns on, now you have assistance from all these guides. So I hope this video isn't too much. I don't want it to be too lengthy because there's a lot to process here. This is multidimensionality. This is what I love. But again, we're here on a collective mission, and the collective has to be ready for this kind of information, which is why I withheld it. I wasn't withholding it for any other reason, but my guides always instruct me. They always tell me people are ready for this or hold off on this. They let me know. They inform me. And I feel like the majority of you watching this right now are prepared for this kind of information. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I have so much to share. I've been in meditation for 8 years, so I have lots to share. So whenever you remember, all of your memories, all of the information contained within those memories is liquid. It's never solid. It's liquid. So some people say let go of the past. I say use the past. Use your memories to travel back into the engrams of your memory and shift things around. Because as you shift what's already available to you, which is your childhood, which is your adolescence, which is everything that brought you joy, but also brought you pain and heart sickness, all of that can be accessed right now. That's so easy to access because it's the life that you've had within this point of focus. So by being willing to look at that and address that, you're altering its dimension, but you're also altering your dimension. So you can see how infinity is always changing in its form. Always. By the time you watch this video, the video's energy will have taken on a different form. That's how it works. Because every time you draw your attention to something, it changes in its form. Time was a construct that was needed for a while, for a long time. I would say 200,000 years. But now we're moving into quantumness. We're moving into the lifting of the veil so that we can see how all aspects work together to bring harmony. So when you hear a voice tell you, hey, don't eat that tonight, or for me, it's always been skip the gym today. If I disobey that voice, I'm not cooperating with that future aspect of myself that's saying, hey, there's an easier way. You just can't see it yet because you're too caught up in what you think you should do, in your idea of what it should be. But as you loosen your grip on reality, and you're willing to be compliant with your guidance system, then it might be a bit of a struggle in the beginning because your ego or what you know within this point of focus is very difficult to suspend when you've been in it so long. There are patterns that have been ingrained in you. But we created those patterns through by default or through our conditioning, through our the frequencies that were being bombarded at us, that we were being barraged with. We created all of it. So obviously loosening your grip in the beginning isn't that easy. It's not obvious. But it's about trust. It's about saying, I'm willing to see what's on the other side of this upheaval or of this obstacle. I'm willing to see what's on the other side of that. I just have to be compliant with my guidance system. I just have to be compliant with that future self that's probably in meditation right now, beaming out this light and this information for me to scoop up and pick up so that I can change my life. And the more that you do this, the more that you merge. There's a meld of all these dimensional selves and you become that one powerful, multidimensional being, which is your original state. That's the organic human. That's your original state. So it's something to stew over. I can hear a dog barking over there. And remember, every time that you get triggered, there is an aspect of yourself, another self, that is sending you a message that you need to decipher. Always. There's always information to be gathered through what you're experiencing. Always. Time is but a construct. And it is true that time exists within a third dimensional landscape. But from a fifth dimensional and beyond, everything exists simultaneously. And we choose our point of focus according to what we are serving, to the energy that we are serving in this incarnation or in that incarnation. There are different characters in everyone's script, dependent on which incarnation you're in, which dimension you're occupying. But it is up to us to really become cognizant of the different frequencies that are being pulsed into our field. So in other words, taking heed of all the different frequencies so that we can collaborate with all those other selves to bring about unification, to move ourselves up the vibrational scale to a greater measurement of divinity, to a greater measure of joy, to a greater measure of happiness, to a greater measure of wisdom. That's what we are doing. So I hope this message helped you guys. And yes, it's a lot to think about. And it's a pretty, I guess this message is pretty potent in information. And I hope that you enjoyed it. Please subscribe. Please like this video. And thank you for all your support, all your love. And I will see you in another version of The Now.